Welcome to the Lava Channel Market week of July 17th, 2023. First, thank you all for being here and helping me hit 2,000 subscribers. You're all absolutely amazing. I'm blown away with this, and I'm just incredibly thankful. So now let's get to work. Okay, it's blackout period for the Fed. It begins this week. So this pretty much solidifies a quarter point hike in interest rates for July. Jay Powell has a reputation to uphold. He's been telling us this is what he's going to do, and he's pretty much followed through by telling us ahead of time, and people still like to fight the Fed. So, unlike the old days, we used to get rate hikes or surprises from Greenspan. It wouldn't tell us ahead of time, would just do it, and then the market would have to deal with it. So, we've got earnings week coming in, some notable banks on Tuesday, namely Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, that's my old bank, and BNY Mellon. We've also got Novartis reporting. Wednesday, we've got some large companies, namely Tesla, United Airlines, IBM and Halliburton, and as well as Alcoa. So any of you older traders, those used to be kind of the bellwethers. Thursday, we've got Taiwan Semiconductors. We were talking about them yesterday. And then Capital One credit cards. That bank will be reporting. That will be interesting to see what they're doing with their interest. We've also got Abbott Labs, who were the makers for the testing kits for the pandemic. American Airlines, huge with the travel. We're expecting them to be up. And then on Friday, we have another card company, American Express. They'll be a major bellwether for these credit companies. We're expecting them to have huge earnings on all of these highly paced rate hikes. We've also got AutoNation reporting. So on the macroeconomic calendar, run through this quickly. I just hit the highlights on Monday. We've got Empire State Manufacturing Survey. This will be interesting to see if we're actually producing much. Tuesday, we've got retail sales. After the market opens, we'll have industrial production and home builder confidence. On Wednesday, we're expecting the housing starts. That'll be an indication of the real estate market again. And on Thursday is our cooked numbers special. What do I mean by that? These are the numbers that are most highly manipulated. We're going to have the initial jobless claims, manufacturing survey, existing home sales, and the U.S. leading economic indicators. So typically they bring these numbers out just to move the markets whichever direction they need to, and then they revise them later a little closer to what the actual truth is. So we'll see what they bring up. We'll also be keeping an eye on the MMRI, of course, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, the 10-year yield, always watching that. Crude oil should be a mover this week. And we're going to be watching for opportunities to get into other commodities, such as gold and silver at a good price. Right now, they may still be on a bit of a rise, but they're having drops intermittently to get down gold closer to that 1930, 1920 number. And silver, any dips are good. Also keeping an eye on Japanese yen and bonds, not much into the currency, foreign currency exchange. However, their central bank will be making some moves. They've kind of been looking at changing their policies instead of chasing after that 2% yield that they can't seem to get to. So I've got a couple of other stories that we've been watching. I want to bring these up to. In this, finally, here we've got Yellen visiting India this week. Now, they're talking about the global economic problems that is going on, but in actuality, what she's doing and what she was trying to do last week with China is sell US treasuries because we've got a bit of a cash crunch going on. So she's trying to sell treasuries, but the stories are kind of covering it over in a different way. China turned her down. So we'll see what happens. It was a bit of a fail. We've got, this is from her visiting China last week. We've got some Fed data I wanted to bring up because I thought this was interesting. So this is direct from the Federal Reserve. This is a 10-year graph of unemployment. We know what this spike was, the pandemic. And what I wanted to compare this to is someone brought this up to me, was versus the same time period of disability. So what it appears is that instead of claiming unemployment, that there's a good number of people going into disability claims. Watch this spike that's coming up here. And I think there's quite the correlation and that it's not being factored in. So, along with this story, on the other side, the inflation side, our president will be doing a different version of student loan forgiveness. He's found a loophole. So that, like I was saying before, just like the debt ceiling uh, would be raised, we knew the student loan forgiveness would go through somehow. Anybody hungry for pizza? I don't know. But the student loan forgiveness we knew would go through. The flip side of this is the consequences, and this is San Francisco's retail really going into trouble here. Last month, the owner of Westfield San Francisco Center, a fixture for over 20 years, said it was handing the mall back to its lender, just defaulting, and they're citing declining sales and foot traffic. And then the owner of the two towering hotels, including the Hilton, also did the same. So we're going to see some of these things coming in. And then to counter this, they're going to be taking another crisis. So we're expecting another crisis to come, whether it's in the form of another pandemic, which I just put this story out about Britain being on lockdown alert because they've got a new virus, which has a high fatality rate. I don't expect this one to go farther, but it's just to pay attention to the smaller things that they're trying to bring out, testing the waters. And from one of these things, we'll bring the Black Swan event. And then on our green side, we've got some very angry Irish farmers because they are being told to get rid of some of their dairy cattle because the methane they're putting out, not good for these greenhouse gases. So they're actually paying them to get rid of a lot of their dairy cattle. This is going to diminish our food supply further. If that doesn't work, we'll go to war. So these are, kind of longer term things. We're, of course, going to keep you up to date with all of this. I know this is kind of a conspiracy theory type of stuff, but only until it actually happens. So we're going to keep you up to date on all of this. Please hit the like if you liked anything that I've brought to you here today. And again, I want to thank you all for being here, and I'll see you in the morning.